Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care. As the sleek, silvery craft glided through the atmospheric layers of Earth, Vexa felt an exhilarating mix of curiosity and nervous energy. Hailing from the distant planet of Xyloria, where relationships were regulated by the strict customs of her species, she had spent countless cycles dreaming of what it would be like to interact with humans. She had read about their cultures, their emotions, and, most intriguingly, their reproduction practices, which were quite different from her own world's sterile and procedural method. Vexa's eyes sparkled as they took in the vibrant blues and greens of the planet below. It was a canvas of life, teeming with bustling cities and sprawling landscapes. The craft landed softly in a secluded park, where the chatter of human voices and the laughter of children filled the air. Excitement bubbled within her as she took her first step onto Earth. Dressed in a special suit, designed to momentarily blend in, she felt the warmth of the sun on her skin. Vexa was exhilarated yet overwhelmed by the sensations flooding her senses for the first time. The trees smelled rich and earthy, unlike anything on Xyloria. The sounds were both jarring and melodic. Humans were expressive creatures, their emotions conveyed effortlessly through their voices. As she wandered through the park, absorbing the sights, Vexa noticed couples holding hands, sharing laughter, and exchanging playful glances. She couldn't help but admire their connections. The more she observed, the more she craved to know what made human relationships so deep and intricate. The thought of experiencing human reproduction ignited her curiosity even further. Climbing a small hill, she gazed at a group of humans picnicking below. Their carefree attitudes and closeness intrigued her. Was it really as simple as sharing space and exchanging words? She had to understand it, to experience the thrill of their passion and perhaps engage in their labor of love. In her heart, she felt a pull, a strong desire to connect with one of them. She had to find a partner who could guide her through this journey of exploration. In that moment, Vexa made a promise to herself. She would discover what it meant to embrace human intimacy, their wonderful chaos, and their ineffable emotions. Little did she know, her first encounter would ignite a spark that would change everything. Vexa's quest began in a small, bustling coffee shop that was filled with the rich aromas of coffee beans and baked goods. She had studied their customs for days, analyzing various social settings, and believed this would be the perfect spot to meet a human. The cafe was a hub of activity, with people typing on laptops, chatting with friends, and sharing intimate moments over steaming cups. Determined to blend in, Vexa approached the counter, but confidence soon gave way to confusion as she stared at the extensive menu. "What is a latte? Is it food or drink?" she muttered a little too loudly. The barista raised an eyebrow and smiled, while the line behind her snickered quietly. "I'll have, She paused, narrowing her eyes at the overly complicated options. "A hot liquid with the beans?" The barista chuckled, clearly enjoying the interaction, and suggested a cappuccino instead, explaining it in simple terms. As she accepted the drink, a voice called out from behind her, "You must be new around here." Vexa turned to find a tall human with tousled dark hair and warm brown eyes, looking at her with genuine interest. "A cappuccino is a good choice, trust me." "Ah, yes," she replied, trying her best to sound casual while her heart raced. "I am new. It is quite different here." The human smiled, exuding an air of warmth. "I'm Marcus. Welcome to Earth. What brings you here?" "I am observing," Vexa said, carefully choosing her words. The truth was much more complicated, but she needed to gauge his reaction first. "Observing? Is that a fancy way to say you're people-watching?" Marcus grinned, his playful tone putting her at ease. The two struck up a cheerful conversation, where Vexa learned about the customs of Earthlings. Their humor bubbled up in playful banter, as Marcus made surprising observations about her own unusual choices of words. Vexa, unaccustomed to sarcasm, found herself laughing at his attempts to make her understand human social nuances. As Marcus leaned closer, Vexa could feel a strange fluttering in her heart. She was aware of her unfamiliar sensations. Her skin tingled as she interpreted this physical nearness. Was this what humans referred to as attraction? "Can I show you more of this world?" Marcus offered, eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "There's a stunning view by the river just down the block." At that moment, Vexa made a daring decision, not just to observe but to engage. "Yes, I would like that," she replied, excitement shooting through her. She was ready to dive deeper into human connection and figure out why they seemed to thrive on each other's presence. Vexa and Marcus wandered through the colorful streets hand in hand, her mind swirling with thoughts about the curious human customs of romance. They stopped by a quaint little bookstore, its shelves packed with volumes that seemed to possess the secrets of human emotions. Vexa was particularly drawn to titles on love and relationships. "Do you really need all those words to express what you feel?" she asked Marcus, wide-eyed. "On Xyloria, emotions are simple and conveyed through color patterns on our skin." "Words can be pretty powerful," he replied, playful intrigue in his voice, "but sometimes they can't quite capture what's in here." He placed his hand over his heart, and Vexa mirrored his gesture, trying to understand what he meant. "Can you teach me more about words and feelings?" she probed, her heart racing at the thought of uncovering the mysteries of human interaction. "Absolutely. Let's explore together," Marcus grinned, then handed her a book. "This one's called The Art of Loving. It's a great starter." They spent hours in the bookstore, tracing their fingers along spines of novels and self-help books. With each discovery, Vexa's excitement intensified. Concepts of love, intimacy, and connection danced before her eyes, tantalizingly out of reach. As they progressed through town, Marcus suggested a dinner together at a cozy restaurant known for its romantic atmosphere. "You can't experience human intimacy without real food. It'd be a crime," he laughed. Vexa felt a warm thrill at the idea of a shared meal. Arriving at the restaurant, surrounded by soft candlelight, she gazed at the sheer intimacy enfolding the couples around them. The aura was undeniably captivating, wrapping her in its essence of connection. Ordering was another adventure. Marcus carefully explained the various dishes, his passion for the food evident in his animated description. But when it came time for dessert, the conversation became playful and flirtatious. "Have you ever tasted chocolate cake? It's a magical experience." "Do you consume magic here?" Vexa's eyes widened in excitement, prompting laughter from him. "Only when I'm with someone special," he replied suggestively, a mischievous glint in his eyes. The vibe between them shifted, the air thick with an undercurrent of desire. Sparkling flirtation flowed naturally as they joked and shared their feelings, both feeling drawn together like magnets. With every shared laugh and lingering glance, Vexa felt her foreign attractions deepen. After dinner, they found themselves at a secluded spot near the river. The starlit sky above seemed to conspire with their budding connection, wrapping them in an enchanting ambiance. Marcus pointed out constellations, enthusiasm radiating from him as he described myths and stories behind each star. "Which constellation pulls at your heart, Vexa?" he asked. The question left her momentarily stunned, realizing for the first time how invested she was becoming. I feel drawn to the one that looks like a heart," she said thoughtfully, inviting a smile. "The way it lights up the sky feels special." "It does, doesn't it? There's something about sharing that moment with someone." Marcus's voice lowered, the intimacy of the moment blossoming at their shared connection. Just then, Vexa felt brave. She took a deep breath, her heart racing. "I want to understand this feeling more," she confessed, voice barely above a whisper. "What do you mean?" he asked, tilting his head curiously, beautifully lit by the moonlight. I want to understand how humans express affection, how you connect, how you reproduce." The last word hung in the air, her tone almost earnest, and she could see the surprise cross his features. "Wow, that's a bold question." Marcus chuckled, rubbing the back of his neck. "Very upfront, I like it. But you do realize it's a big topic, right?" "I am ready to learn," she affirmed, her pulse quickening with anticipation. In that moment, Vexa felt an undeniable determination to experience human intimacy in all its complex glory. The journey ahead promised to be exhilarating. The following day, Vexa and Marcus met again, this time at a park where the sun flickered through the leaves, casting playful shadows around them. They spread out a colorful blanket, the perfect setting for a picnic that Marcus had planned. As they settled in, Vexa's excitement bubbled beneath the surface. In a playful tone, she asked, "So, where do we start in our lessons of love? Does it require special rituals?" Marcus chuckled, amused by her straightforwardness. "Not exactly, though romance is often tied to food, ambiance, and sometimes a good old-fashioned movie night." "What about physical touch?" she asked, her cheeks warming. "On my planet, we simply touch. But you seem to have more elaborate rituals." "Touch is definitely important here too," Marcus replied, his tone shifting to a more tender note. "But it's often accompanied by sharing feelings, vulnerabilities, and making deeper connections. Want to give it a try?" Vexa felt her heart race at his suggestion. She needed to navigate this territory carefully. "You mean touch you? Like the way your kind does?" Nodding, he leaned closer, brushing his hand against hers in a gentle, inviting gesture. "Exactly. It starts with something small. Feel how the warmth transfers from one to the other." Vexa gazed at their hands, entranced. It felt different, unlike anything she had ever known, and yet it stirred emotions deep within her soul. Building trust and intimacy through this small touch set the scene for what was to come. "What is it like when you're falling for someone?" Vexa asked, her voice soft, eyes lingering on their joined hands. "How do you tangibly understand the emotions?" "It can be overwhelming, but in a good way," Marcus said, his voice tender. "You feel a sense of excitement, longing, even vulnerability, mixed with a sense of safety. It's about being open and honest with each other." "Open," Vexa echoed. She yearned to understand these human emotions fully. "Can you teach me how to be open?" "Absolutely," he said, smiling. "It might seem daunting, but it's about sharing who you are with someone you trust. You can start by expressing your thoughts and feelings more freely." In a moment of courage, Vexa took a deep breath. "On my planet, emotions are displayed through color patterns on our skin," she explained. "But here, it seems, you must articulate everything. I find that thrilling and terrifying." Marcus tilted his head, intrigued. "You're among friends here. Share whatever you feel. There's no wrong way to express yourself." Taking another leap of faith, Vexa met his gaze and spoke her truth. "I feel drawn to you, Marcus. The way you share your thoughts, your laughter, your warmth." Her cheeks flushed, vulnerability spilling from her. "And I desire to learn what it means to truly connect with another being." His eyes softened, a sweet smile breaking across his face. "I feel the same way, Vexa. You're unlike anyone I've ever met, and the way you view the world is refreshing." A moment of silence enveloped them, their hearts pulsing in sync. Then, in an impulse, Marcus leaned in and brushed his lips against hers. A soft, light kiss that sent electric sparks throughout her body. As their lips parted, the world around them faded into nothingness. "Was that right?" Vexa asked, breathless, her eyes wide with wonder. "Definitely right," he replied, barely hiding a smile. "That's just the beginning." The afternoon drifted into evening, as conversation flowed freely, unearthing tales about their lives, her upbringing in a structured world with little space for emotions, and his experiences navigating the unpredictable seas of human relationships. As they delved deeper, sharing stories of heartache and joy, Vexa felt an unbreakable bond forming. Each exchange tugged her heart in ways she couldn't fully articulate. She was beginning to appreciate the nature of vulnerability as both a source of strength and opportunity for connection. "Are you ready to explore more?" Marcus asked, the challenge shining in his eyes. "I am," Vexa declared boldly, feeling an exhilarating rush. "Teach me." With their connection cemented, Marcus led Vexa on a new adventure, filled with excitement and anticipation for what lay ahead. They decided to embark on a small trip to a local festival that celebrated human expression in art, food, and music. Vexa could hardly contain her eagerness as they wove through the colorful stalls, vibrant with laughter, music pulsating in the air around them. This festival is dedicated to sharing joy, showcasing creativity, and, well, connections, Marcus explained, his eyes twinkling with enthusiasm. You'll experience a variety of human interactions all at once. Vexa felt enchanted by the atmosphere, Each smile, each laugh, each whiff of two distinctly delicious foods merging together. It was as if everything was woven into a cosmic tapestry. She could hardly grasp the delightful chaos. "Let's try everything," Vexa exclaimed, her curiosity bubbling over as she tried to absorb the whole experience at once. "Do we just taste it?" "Exactly," Marcus replied, grinning as he grabbed her hand, leading her toward an enticing stall selling colorful pastries. Food often brings people closer. Taste is a vital part of human bonding. They stepped up to the counter, overwhelmed by choices, and Marcus began explaining each item in delight. As they sampled flaky pastries drizzled in powdered sugar, the flavor burst on Vexa's tongue like a new star awakening in the universe. "Now that's magic," she confessed, laughter bubbling between them. "This does feel special." After they indulged in various treats, their playful banter kept flowing as they roamed amidst the festival. They danced together, laughing while trying to mimic the moves of other festival-goers, creating a kaleidoscope of emotions that shifted between laughter and the intoxicating rhythm of the music. Just as things began to quiet down, Marcus came to a halt, his voice turning serious. "Are you sure you're ready for what comes next? Experiences can get intense, but they're meaningful." "What do you mean?" Vexa asked, curiosity swirling in her eyes. "I mean, intimacy. Exploring it here is more about establishing deep emotional connections while also enjoying physical closeness," he explained, vulnerability seeping into his tone. "But everyone's experience is unique." Taking a moment, Vexa let his words sink in. "I want to learn. I want to fully embrace this part of your world. It excites me." Marcus nodded, appreciation etched on his face. He could see how earnest she was in wanting to understand human relationships. "Let's take this opportunity to reflect and decide the next steps. What do you say?" With intense spirits rejuvenated by delightful experiences, they found a quiet space away from the crowd, a tree that provided gentle shade. Vexa felt the soft earth beneath her as they sat together, the vibrations of distant melodies lapping at the edges of their conversation. "Physical closeness is important," Marcus began, his demeanor shifting as he leaned closer. "It's often accompanied by, well, this." He rested his fingers along her arm, tracing soft patterns that ignited her skin. "What is this feeling?" she whispered, breath hitching. "This is intimacy." "The electric sensation that often accompanies human connections," he replied, watchful and patient, his eyes locked onto hers. "It can be frightening and thrilling all at once." As the moment enveloped them, Vexa felt a rush of warmth. "What do I need to do?" "Just be present," Marcus urged, his voice soothing, "and follow your instincts." Taking a deep breath, Vexa intertwined her fingers with his, feeling the pulse of his heartbeat through their connection. The world around them faded, leaving only the synchronized rhythm of their breathing. "What if I kissed you?" she asked, her heart racing. "Then I'd say go for it," Marcus encouraged, a warm smile on his face, kindling embers of bravery deep within her. They both leaned in, their eyes reflecting the magnetism pulling them together, and their lips met gently. The kiss was electric. Time seemed to suspend as a whirlwind of emotions cascaded through her. Vexa had never felt anything like it. Warmth, yearning, connection, all intertwined in this singular embrace. She had crossed a cosmic threshold. Drawing back, Vexa blushed, surprise flickering in her luminous eyes. "Why didn't anyone warn me about this?" "That's the fun of exploration," he teased, while brushing a stray hair behind her ear, his touch igniting thrilling sparks along her skin. "You'll learn so much as you go." They mutually deepened their exploration that day, moving beyond mere kisses into deeper expressions of passion. As twilight descended, the festival's lights flickered like stars illuminating their personal universe of connection. Needless to say, each shared laugh, look, and stolen moment only heightened their chemistry and passion. They ventured into uncharted territories, becoming bold explorers of their intertwined emotions, learning the delicate nuances that exist within the human experience. As the night deepened, they collapsed onto the grass, panting with exhilaration. "Do you feel it now?" Marcus asked softly, as they both stared at the sky filled with glorious stars. "The connection?" With glistening eyes and a fluttering heart, Vexa nodded. I feel the universe intertwining us. It's undeniable. As dawn broke, Vexa awoke to the gentle sound of rustling leaves and the tranquility of nature surrounding them. She turned to find Marcus still beside her, his face relaxed in slumber. Memories of the previous day rushed back with a warm thrill, fresh realizations about human intimacy, and her heart took flight at the recollections. When Marcus finally stirred awake, Vexa caught him staring at her, his expression shifting from sleepiness to delight. "Good morning," he murmured, his voice a low, melodic murmur. "How are you feeling today?" "I feel—" Vexa paused, searching for the right words. "I feel like the universe has opened up to me. It's beautiful." A soft smile broke across Marcus's face. "I know what you mean. I feel like we've uncovered something precious together." With steady courage, Vexa turned to him, wanting to confide more of herself. "I've never felt that sense of belonging, of connection with anyone like I have with you. My experiences were always sterile, nothing like this. What we share is special," he acknowledged, sincerity in his eyes. "But it can also be complicated. Do you understand that?" Vexa nodded. "I do. Everything about human emotions feels delicate and layered, unlike my world. But I want to explore it more openly with you. I want to connect with you." Marcus's expression shifted to one of understanding. "Let's talk about what happened between us then. It may help clarify our feelings." As they settled in, an open conversation unfolded, exploring their emotions, fears, and vulnerability. Marcus explained how human relationships could drift towards complicated territory. Romance carried a weight of expectations, hurt, and fidelity. "I've been in relationships where the other person wasn't as honest about their feelings," he admitted, vulnerability palpable in his tone. "It can hurt deeply. I wonder if that's something I should be cautious about." "I've never thought about these complexities," Vexa confessed, her brow furrowing in contemplation. "I assumed emotions were simply created and shared through touch, much like we do on Xyloria. But your experiences have taught me otherwise. I know it might feel overwhelming, but being open and honest is crucial," he encouraged, maintaining eye contact that deepened their understanding. "I'd like for us to continue exploring, but to approach it thoughtfully. What do you think?" "I think I agree," Vexa affirmed, her heart racing at the weight of his words. "I want this, yet I want to do it right." They discussed boundaries and expectations, while reassuring each other that their connection was meaningful, and neither were alone in their journey. They spent hours exchanging thoughts and ideas, delving into fragments of their pasts, desires, and boundaries. "The heart requires time and compassion," Marcus said with a smile. "Let's give it that, and let's explore what that means together." As they hung around, Vexa felt a rush of exhilaration mixed with resolve settle in her heart. Sure, they were dancing on the precipice of complexity, but that same adrenaline had drawn her ever closer to him. Hours turned into days, their bond growing steadily as they continued to learn things together, exploring everything from human literature on relationships to art, all the while practicing open dialogue. Marcus took her through poignant literature, immersing them both in poetic narratives encapsulating the essence of human fervor and compassion. With each passing moment, Vexa felt the strands of intimacy strengthening, transforming her perceptions about closeness and affection. It blossomed into an exquisite exchange of held desires, rife with enthusiasm for understanding one another on a deeper plane. Eventually, on a peaceful weekend, they decided to visit the art gallery. It was an opportunity immersed in creativity and expression, and Vexa, loyal to her character of exploration, found herself enchanted by the raw emotions captured on canvas. As they wandered through the gallery, Vexa absorbed the stories told by each artist. She turned to Marcus, who stood beside her, lost in thought. "These pieces capture the essence of connection, don't they?" "They really do," he replied, admiration shining in his eyes. "Art reflects the beautiful chaos of relationships, emotions, and love." "Perhaps there's a piece here that best encapsulates our journey so far," Vexa mused, glancing around. "Shall we find it?" Together, they navigated through vibrant colors and expressive forms, each piece sparking tender discussions and deep reflections. As they gradually approached an exquisite painting, the soft strokes illustrating a pair entangled under the night sky. The weight of their connection settled comfortably around them. "This one," Marcus said softly, his gaze unwavering upon the artwork. "It feels like a balance of vulnerability and intimacy, just like us." Vexa stared at the piece intently. It resonated profoundly within her. "Yes, although I've never fathomed experiencing such emotions, I wish to embrace them fully," she declared with conviction. "Then let's carry this authenticity into our future, together," he suggested, a reassuring warmth enveloping them. As they stepped closer to one another, Marcus wrapped his arms around Vexa, drawing her into a comforting embrace. "We'll navigate these waters carefully, learning from each other," he promised. In that moment, wrapped in stability and commitment, Vexa felt an irrefutable truth within her heart. This was a connection worth exploring, and she was ready. As the sun dipped beneath the horizon, casting golden hues across the park, Vexa and Marcus found themselves on a bench overlooking a gentle stream. The day had passed in a beautiful flow of conversation and exploration, each moment deepening the fabric of their burgeoning relationship. Vexa's heart fluttered as the blush of sunset mirrored the warmth blooming within her. "I never imagined I would find someone like you, Marcus. Your kindness has opened my eyes to the complexities of emotion. And I never expected to connect with someone as extraordinary as you, Vexa," he replied, sincerity ringing through his voice. "You've changed my view on relationships." With a resolve forged in their conversations, Vexa took a breath and spoke earnestly. "I want to continue exploring this connection. Your world, humanity, is filled with layers, and I yearn to understand them further." Marcus nodded, joy bubbling in his chest. "Absolutely. We'll unwrap the layers together, one experience at a time. I want to share everything with you, even the chaos." As they sat side by side, fingertips brushing against each other's palms, Vexa felt a sense of belonging settle in her heart. "Perhaps we can blend our cultures, blending your human customs with my Xylorian ones. We have so much to learn from one another." "Definitely," Marcus grinned, the light of enthusiasm dancing in his eyes. "And who knows, we might create something beautiful together." In that moment, they pledged to carve their unique path, celebrating both their differences and similarities. Vexa realized that love, intimacy, and connection were not just about exploration and expression, but also about embracing vulnerability and the rich tapestry of the human experience. As twilight descended, they leaned into one another, kissing softly, tenderly cementing their promise to boldly dance through the complexities ahead. With shared laughter and whispered hopes, they knew they would take every step side by side, an enchanting journey awaiting them both hand in hand.